All right, welcome to the Mountain Podcast episode 6. And this is the first in-person one. Okay, so have some grace here. We ran into some technical difficulties, and I'm leaving them in the podcast just because we're human and I think it's funny. So enjoy, and I hope you have a laugh. All right, welcome to the Mountain Podcast with our little mini microphones here, episode 6 with my boy Jaden Indalecio. Is that how you say it? Yep. And then Christian Rabino.
me.
I've known these guys since high school. I've known Jaden since I was a freshman. We go around by ukulele and I'd be playing and whatnot, and he'd teach me how to play. And we had mutual friends, the Bradninis, and that's kind of how I knew them because Jaden's a couple years older than me. And then I've known you since pretty much high school.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when we met. It I don't know if it was at, like, a high school party or
Yeah.
what, but we hit it off.
Just through mutual
Yeah.
friends, we just know a lot of the same people. And yeah, combat sports guy, jujitsu guy, wrestled a little bit, grappled, trained. Anyone that trains, I'm a friend of.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I have these gentlemen here on the podcast because they are some grinders. A couple blue collar guys that just get after it, and has trained in martial arts and is coaching people in fitness. And we just know each other from way back. And I like interviewing interesting people or just having conversations with interesting people that I know I respect. And we got a couple of young dads here, and so we're going to talk about some fatherhood. We're going to talk about what it's like training, coaching people, what it's like working blue collar in today's world and America today in the blue collar world. And because I'm not really blue collar, but I want to turn the floor to them and just speak on what it's like being a young father. So I know I kind of asked you guys this a little earlier, and we were like, yeah, like maybe we should save that one for the podcast. So
Yeah.
you have two young kids.
I do.
So how is fatherhood like? You're what, 29, 30?
Yeah, 29.
29. And how has fatherhood shifted your mentality on how you just go about living your life now?
Man, I'm super big on being that standard, setting that example. So, as a father, I have to be an example in my kids' lives. So, I have to do everything right by them, and I have to be a good man, you know what I mean? I'm a husband as well. So, you can't just be doing the shit that you were doing back in high school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't be living selfish. So I'm super big on just trying to be the one that they can look up to. I was fortunate enough to have father figures in my life.
Yeah.
That guided me and showed me the way, set the foundation. And now learning from them, I have my own way of, being a father and teaching them. So that's what I love the most.
Yeah. And then what about you? And then how old are your kids actually?
My daughter's 2.5, my son's 3. He'll be 4 in January.
What are their names?
Odin and Ilani.
Odin and Iolani. Those are some badass names. And like, what do you do for work? Like, what do you got going on?
So I am a assistant service manager at Oakland Harley. I've been there for about 7 years. I started off as a service writer and just worked my way up from there. And I love what I do, man. I mean, the best thing about my job is like I'm constantly learning. Just one about the business, learning new stuff about motorcycles, and then really it's helped me with a lot of life skills. Communicating with people, learning how to read people. So it's my job. I really like it because I'm constantly learning stuff.
Yeah. No, that's a lot of hands-on work, huh?
Exactly.
And then I also, if anyone follows Jaden knows Jaden already, he's starting a coaching business. So shine a little light on that. Like, what got you into this fitness journey, and now you're starting to grow a coaching business.
So
Really cool.
out of high school, I was super skinny. I was like 135 pounds. I've always been kind of didn't really like the way I looked just because I was kind of sucked up, you know what I mean? So out of high school, I started working out, put on some weight, and I was doing pretty good. I was, in the gym probably about 4 or 5 years. Started my new job, and I allowed that job to pretty much take over. And I stopped going to the gym, and then from there it was like on and off. I'd go for a couple months, fall off, go for another couple months, fall off, and then one day I just looked in the mirror and I'm like, stop being a bitch, honestly, fucking get after it. So really, I actually came across this guy named Wes Watson, and he's really big on mindset and being a solid fucking figure for people, and really being the best you. And that's what's gonna broaden your horizon. It's gonna bring everything, to fruition. So um, I just started getting after it, started waking up early, started hitting burpees, literally just 100 burpees in the morning. And then from there, I started doing home workouts. Then I eventually got in the gym. And I just kept it going, and I just kept the mindset of just like, I have to do this. I have to get my mind right. My kids are looking up to me.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking up to me. So I need to be the example. You know what I mean? So started that, and, documented it every day. Waking up early. I started waking up at 6 o'clock, brought it down to about 3 o'clock now. So I'm up at 3 every day. And I just started having people literally just asking me for help. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm doing, how I'm eating, how I'm training, getting people that are telling me like, man, you're motivating me, you're inspiring me. So that just kept me going. And like, I got to a point where it's like, all right, now I'm showing up for other people, like, and I'm helping other people. Right. So I had two of my homies reach out to me wanting some help. So started helping them, coaching them. And man, I was able to get one of my boys down about 10 pounds, my other buddy down about 20, and still had more people asking me. So I decided, take the next step, take it serious, and, really get down on this coaching business. So I did hire a mentor that pretty much is showing me the way, guiding me the way.
Shorten the learning curve.
Exactly, man. I mean, I think the thing is like, you have to drop your ego. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, if you see somebody that's doing what you want to do, like, learn from them. You know what I mean? Because life is a fucking learning curve. Like, you have to constantly be learning, and you want to learn from people that you want to emulate, or the life that you want to live. So I decided to take that step, take a big risk, and start my business. Right, and it's not easy. There's definitely times where I doubt myself and I do have some fears, but I mean, it all comes with personal development. That's why I have my morning process.
Yeah.
I journal a lot. I really kind of instill a lot more belief in myself. And that's what I love the most about the gym, is that's the foundation, and that's what keeps me going. So um, I'm hoping that this, coaching business obviously grows. I want to grow a community. And honestly, like, it's my lifestyle and I love to do it.
Yeah.
So, teaching other people to do what I do, but also have a different mindset on it, to have them keep going and make it sustainable. You don't want to just get in shape and then fall off. You want to make sure that you make it part of your life.
Yeah, something that's like a non-negotiable
Exactly.
every day, no matter what. And yeah, and I mean, we've been following each other pretty tightly these last couple of years. Same with you, like just getting on our workouts and tagging each other, and I'm holding each other accountable to what it is we want to do. And I remember, yeah, last time I saw you, we ran up a mountain with my dog Mushi, and that was pretty tight. And that's when you were really starting to get. That was like, oh, it feels like it was a year ago, but it was
Yeah, it
probably
was a
just
few
like
months ago, probably.
7 months, something like that. And yeah, and that's I saw you really starting to take it super seriously, and I was like, hell yeah, I love seeing my guys on the grind and like getting after it. And then you're journaling each morning. I see you reading. Like, what have you been reading lately that's helped with your mindset?
So I've kind of been jumping around books, but I do have a book that I read in the morning. It's called The Art of Living.
Mm,
It's basically like a stoic book. So it doesn't have like full pages and pages of chapters, but it
yeah.
has sections. And it's just like a philosophy on just like certain ways of thinking,
Hmm.
certain things in life. And just when you read them, and there's a couple of them that I'll read like over and over
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
and
Got
then
to.
really start to think about it, and then start to think about like how I can implement that in my life, or like kind of reflect on myself. Right. And
Hmm.
then what I read, I'm like, oh shit, like that's true, like what it's in the book. Right. So
Yeah.
it's something to kind of like spark my thinking. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't really think, you know what I mean? They don't really think about their future, think about who they are as a person, like their
Hmm.
identity, like what they actually
They
stand
don't
for.
think for themselves.
Exactly. Right. So like,
Yeah.
we get so caught up in the normal day-to-day life where we're waking up, you go to work, you take care of your family, which is good, but it's like you also need a solid purpose. Like, I think us, like, we're put here that we can improve ourselves and help other people to do the same thing,
Hmm.
honestly. Like, because if we're the best that we can be,
It's great.
and
It's gonna be
everybody's
great.
that way, you know what I mean? Then
Yeah.
the world just gets better.
No, I agree. And this boy's just being a cute little. This is Chief right here. Christian's dog. No, they're gonna love that. Trust me, they're gonna love watching that. No, I think having like, if anyone remembers the podcast that I had with Jacob, episode 4, just talking about the book Outwitting the Devil, which I believe like you should listen to that
Yes,
audiobook,
I've heard of that
Outwitting the
book.
Devil. It's so good. And like what you said, having that definitive purpose, having that clear defined vision of who it is you want to be and where it is you want to go, so that yeah, you have a reason to wake up. And that's why a lot of people sleep in. They don't have a reason to wake up and like get after it and do these things. And, my last podcast that I did yesterday with Chris Polo, I was talking just like how with my knee, it's so hard to train right now and have something to train for and get me out of bed in the morning. Like I feel like that's a part of me that I love. It helps me wake up earlier, like having something to train for. I believe everyone should have something physically and mentally that they're training up for. And so I want to pass the mic to Rabino real quick and have his experience on, you
Sorry, I
know,
got this guy over here.
Chief,
Go, buddy.
big Chief saying, let's play. Let's play rope. All right, good buddy.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna follow Jaden up. Good Lord.
No, but
This guy's got out for this.
well, what's your experience? How old's your kid and what's your experience been like being a father, the challenges, the ups and downs, because yours pretty new into fatherhood, right?
Yeah. I mean, my son Nicky, he's 7.5 months.
Oh, wow.
Me and Jaden were talking about this earlier. It's just kind of unexplainable. It's just there's so much about it that's I can't even really explain it. It just changes your life. But luckily, growing up, I mean, he's my hero growing up. You know, I mean, he was a cop in the Bay Area for 25 years. So just I don't know. He was always in shape. He was always doing something. He was never sitting at home being lazy. So I always tried to keep myself to that growing up. You know, he pushed me pretty hard in sports. So to cut to it, he was just a great role model.
Yeah.
You know, I try to strive. I'll never reach his level and how great of a father he was, but I'm trying to get there.
We can damn try.
Yeah.
And what do you do for work?
I'm a crane operator.
Crane operator.
Yeah.
So what does that consist of?
In the simplest of terms, lifting heavy things with equipment and placing them where they need to go.
How scary is it being all the way up there, man?
You get used to it, man. It's funny enough. I know quite a bit of guys that are actually afraid of heights that do what I do.
Really?
Which is, whether they're iron workers or operators. Yeah.
But and so you drive to, big cities, like you go to San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento.
Wherever our equipment's at, that's where I go. Yeah. So like I worked up in Reno for almost 4 months.
Oh wow! And you stay at a hotel. They give you
they put me out up there for I would just come home on the weekends. I leave Monday morning.
Was that when you had a kid?
No.
How's that changed?
I don't think I would do that again.
Yeah. How has having a kid affected your professional life? And vice versa, your professional life affecting you being a father.
It's funny. It makes me not want to work as much. Like not work long hours, and then it also makes me want to work long hours and provide more for my family. You know,
it's like a bittersweet.
Yeah, it really is. Like I'll be thankfully. I get sent videos of him, and it just makes your day. I'm sure you feel the same way. You get videos while you're at work. And you're like, I'm just home right now. Yeah, man.
I remember you guys when I was in the bathroom. I overheard you guys talking. You're like, I always knew I wanted to be a dad, but I didn't know it was gonna be this good. Like, what makes it that good to where you're like,
just everything, man. Whether like, I don't know, they just look at you, and then you look at them, and then they just smile. Yeah. It's just, dude, like, it's the little moments between you and your child that you just have those forever. It's awesome.
Yeah. What's like what have been the biggest challenges?
For me, so I was always, how do I say it? I was pretty selfish with myself when it came to working out. Even in my relationship, I always not selfish, I guess. I always made it a priority to go to the gym. And now with him, I just kind of want to be home. So I definitely am guilty of slacking a lot in the last 7 months since he's been born on getting to the gym. I got back on it, but it was just hard. It's like you almost feel guilty for wanting something for yourself when you have your family in front of you. So it's a tough balance. I mean, that's a big reason why I want to be here, because these two guys are. I mean, Jaden's waking up at 3 a.m. Monday through Monday every single day.
Making me feel lazy. I'm at 4 now.
Yeah, he's up at 4.
I used to do the 3 a.m. thing.
At 4, and I'm just sitting here watching. I'm like,
that used to be my thing, man. I'd like wake up at 3:30, whatever, take a picture of my watch, put it up, like just like
Jocko.
Dude, the accountability, man, and like almost in a sense, I'm sure you feel the same way. It's like, hey, there's people counting on me and I don't coach people like you do in the sense of like, you're training people. Like I coach wrestling, and to me, I like see these kids I'm coaching, and I'm like, I gotta outwork them because I want them to see me and be like, damn, I'm getting outworked by my coach, who's not even like competing for the sport I'm in.
Doing this for
He's
fun.
doing it because he fucking loves it and like inspire that. Because my boy Tyler Schnauber, who's going to be on this podcast, we were supposed to film this last weekend, but I was at a wedding and it was just not feeling good the next day to record a podcast because we want it to be very good. And he would be the assistant coach that's there at 3 a.m. working out, and then we have a 6 a.m. practice and he's already sweaty, and he's like, "What the fuck were you guys doing? You guys are lazy. Like you're gonna let your coach outwork you?" And we were like, "Oh damn." So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that with him, but having that person that was doing it just because he loved the grind, and I was like, I want to be that person for the kids that I coach. Now you guys have kids that you're setting the example for, and we just got after it. Like you have a home gym now, which probably makes it a little bit easier to start getting after it and whatnot. And I want to give the mic to both of you guys. We just did a little, we just did a little workout that I just like. I was like, what? Let me lead us through a nice ab routine. And what was that like for you guys?
Dude? It was
Man, I thought I worked out, but this motherfucker gets after it for sure. I mean, my abs are pretty pumped, dude. Like tomorrow morning is not going to be the greatest getting up, but hey, we don't have no excuses, man. We live by execution only. So that was great, man. I mean, honestly, like working out with you, like, I mean, I work, like I said, I work out by myself. So having somebody else that's on the same path, but is doing it at a different level is what's going to push me. You know what I mean? So like I said, man, I'm going to be doing fucking abs every day because the next time we have that round, I'm not going to be dying like I was. So yeah, bro, fucking, it was cool.
Yeah, there's a reason this guy's built like a Greek statue. That was fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah,
it was brutal. Yeah, I haven't done something like that in a while, and that was it's just something that
suffer
you do every
session.
day.
Yeah, selective. Selecting the. It's almost like
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, it's almost like I mean, for Muay Thai, like we did that every day except for like the legs, hold them out there. We do that every day, every single day, and then 30 burpees or 30 squat jumps and 30 burpees as like the ender every day. And I was like, this is great. I'm gonna do this literally every single day. And then adding in like the bar stuff. We did record some of it, so we're like, this is the first in-person podcast, and so I mean, you can see we got a studio set up. Yeah, I'm glad it's here too because it's a beautiful day. And so I'll like throw some of the workout in. And, I mean, we didn't have like, I don't know, don't expect much from this video. I just put my phone down and we just hit record for some of this, and we'll get some highlights going. But no, it was nice being able to come here and just talk and hang out. It's, we were talking about earlier too, it's kind of tough to see everyone because we're just getting to that age where people have so much going on. Like, dude, you guys have kids. That's number one priority. So how's that like affected the social life for you two?
Well, like I was saying, like, dude, one of my best buddies lives 4 miles down the street, and it's like I've seen him once the past, I think 3 months since his wedding, but it's just everybody's got stuff going on, it's like you're working, you're coming home, there's kids, your wife, it's everybody's got things going on. So it's tough to get together. But when you do get together with your boys, it's a good time, make the best out of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And do you read anything? Are you reading? Are you a podcast guy?
I'm a big podcast guy. I love podcasts just because when I'm, so when I drive to work, I listen to my music. Get ready for the day, But when I'm on the way home, I'm sitting in traffic. If I got an hour and a half home, I throw on a podcast, and I like to learn. And I also like to hear people conversate. I don't know. You pick up a lot from just watching conversations with people. But Rogan, Cameron Haynes, Jocko, I listen to. I don't discriminate with podcasts. I listen to everything, or little YouTube clips that come up. Like, well, that looks interesting.
Yeah, a little short.
Yeah, you're a little short. You watch that. But book wise, I haven't read. Last time, besides the Bible, last time I read was when I was doing. Me and my wife did 75 Hard together.
Nice.
That was great, by the way. That was cool.
Yeah. What was that experience like?
It was everybody, they're like, oh, how is that? Is it hard? And it's like, it's not hard. It's fucking annoying. It's annoying because it's 2 workouts a day. So, you get home from either work or the gym, you make dinner. It's like 9:30, 10. You're like, I got to go do an outside workout right now. So
45
it's like,
minutes, right?
exactly. It's like that little
gallon of water,
part of it. I'm
15
sure
pages.
if you plan it out right, it's a lot easier. We just didn't do that, so next time around it'll be a lot easier for us. But that's all I could say was it was kind of not a cakewalk, but it was pretty easy.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah,
it's very simple. Just follow the steps.
Yeah,
and just don't let anything get in the way of it.
Exactly.
And it's a good test of like showing how committed you are to achieving a goal of some type.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Like my chick's friend, dude, she lost over 100 pounds. I could tell you that
in 75 days.
No, she's done it like 4 times now.
Shit.
Yeah, she's done it like 4 times now. But she started her own business. She's fucking killing it.
Wow.
Dude. Yeah, it completely changed her life. To the point where like I almost want to hit up Andy Frisella. And shout her out and see if he can put her on. And talk about it.
Promote her business.
Like that's how awesome she's done.
Yeah, you're so let's pause.
But yeah, it was good. But reading wise, yeah. I don't like to read.
Yeah.
But when I do read, it needs to be something interesting.
Yeah.
So I read like a lot of Navy SEAL books.
Oh yeah.
Like there's this one with Eddie Penny. That was a good one. I read Jocko's books. I tried to read Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
We had this conversation.
Yep. Big vocabulary.
Yeah, you almost need to have a dictionary sitting next to you, read and be like, oh,
complex.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Conversations in there where it's like, oh, I got to take my time on this one. I have to read that one sentence 5 times.
It's
to make sure I get it.
You got to be in the mood for it almost. Where like that's why I like those Navy SEAL books, like the David Goggins ones. Like it's interesting. I don't need to be, I don't need to articulate too much.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like I could be like, oh, this guy shot this guy.
Like,
or this is how boot camp was.
This mission went wrong because of these things. Like Jocko Willing talks a lot about.
Hey, come on, buddy. Hey.
He talks a lot about his missions and whatnot, and some of them didn't go well, and that extreme ownership. And I was talking to the podcast I recorded yesterday, my buddy Chris Polo. We were talking about extreme ownership, and like that's one thing he learned because I was his manager for Cutco, and he's like, that's one of the things I learned from you is like anytime anything happened in the office, someone messed up an interview, someone got this wrong here, someone slipped on following up with this thing, whatever it was, I would always find where I was at fault and take like, hey, if they missed this thing, obviously like, hey, clearly I did not communicate that to you enough about how important it was to make that thing and how it should have been done.
Yeah.
And what the outcome would have been, the why behind it, because that's where a lot of people mess up. They just like bark orders at someone. That's where a lot of leaders mess up. They just kind of tell someone like, yeah, just go do this. And the person's like, okay, but they don't know why it's being done, the long-term vision to it. So they're just kind of doing it to do it without a good intention. And I always tried to lead that way, where it was like, I really want to put a good intention forward. And so I got to let them know the why. And if I didn't, that's probably why it didn't get done. And so that's my fault. And then my team sees that and they're like, dang, like that person messed up and Carson's taking the fall.
Yeah.
So then when they mess up, they're like, yeah, I messed it up. And no one's playing the blame game. No one's pointing the fingers and like, yeah, shout out to Jocko for that book. And just like, yeah, dude, I went on a binge to listen to Jocko.
But dude, it's always something, man. It's like even the simplest things with him to where, him and what's his co-host?
Echo Charles. Echo. I love Echo Charles.
When they'll do like the Q&As, and he'll be like,
oh, those are great.
Like Jocko, blah, blah, blah wants to know how to get up early. And he just goes, get up early.
Yeah, it's so simple.
It's simple things like that just kind of resonate really well. And it's like, wow, it actually kind of really is that fucking simple.
Yeah. Just get up. Like when you're like, don't click the snooze. Like, or, a good technique is like put the phone across, like make yourself actually have to physically get out of bed.
I used to have an app on my phone where my alarm would go off and I had to go take a picture of something.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I would put something in my fridge. So you would take a picture of it the night before. And then when your alarm went off, you had to wake up and go take a picture of the same thing until the alarm would go off. So it was like, because it was, it's not easy for me to wake up.
No. And what time do you have to wake up typically to go to work now?
Working in Sacramento. I wake up about 4. 4:15.
And when do you get
right
your
around there.
workout in?
When I get home.
When are you
Yeah. So typically, my wife doesn't work Mondays, Tuesdays, so I take those days off, or we
Yeah.
work out here together.
Mhm.
But when the day she's working, Wednesday through Sunday, I get home, I'll eat, and then I'll come out here and work out and throw a ball around with him, little things like that, keep him happy.
This is a great place for him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of room to run around.
I love it. I love it for you guys because I know
blessed.
that strengthens the relationship between you guys, and like to like pivot into how you guys got to where you are. Because I look at you guys and I'm like, these are a couple of my successful friends that I see that are growing families that like you guys are doing things that I aspire to do. Like you're very present fathers in your kids' lives. You're very much like into your personal growth and your family's growth. I mean, you have an awesome house here that you're providing your family with, and like I know Bella, works and also provides and whatnot, and you guys make such a great team. And I've known Ocean just as long as I've known you. That's Jaden's wife, and you guys are an awesome team, kick ass, right? And you guys do such a great job taking care of the kids, and you've gotten to this place where you have had to go through a lot and build a lot. Like, what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys have gone through? We'll start with Jaden, and we'll pass it over to Christian. Like, some of the biggest challenges in the last like 3 years, because I feel like in the last 3 years we have all probably grown the most. You know how growth is like that exponential curve where at first we're going pretty slowly, like growing through high school. Like growth isn't we're not really open to like reading, listening to podcasts, like we're totally like thinking not great things in high school, right? At least like knowing how we kind of went through, like we weren't, I don't know about you guys. I wasn't a great student in high school.
Not at all.
Not great. Yeah, not great student.
Did enough to get by.
Yeah, I just like worked out really hard and went and wrestled, and yeah, just did enough to get by, and wasn't living consciously, wasn't really into growth other than like physical growth. And now we're like in our late 20s, the curve is starting to, that exponential graph is starting to really start to go upwards instead of horizontal. And so what in the last 3 years has been those challenges that kind of knocked you off your path for a little bit, or tried to knock you off your path, like the ones that stand out the most? What was that like?
I mean, fuck, man, life is full of challenges. You know what I mean? Life is full of struggles, even when I was younger to even now, man. So I can't really say what's probably the most. I'd say honestly, just I mean, you'll probably know too, like, having kids, I'd say the hardest thing is still having connection with your partner, right? Where like we're a great team, right? We take care of the kids, but still finding that time with each other, right? Because I'm also on a different path than she is, right? Where I'm getting up early and I am tired at the end of the day, right? So I go to bed little, not super early, but when I put the kids down, I most of the time fall asleep. My wife's a night owl, so she likes to stay up late. So, sometimes I have to make that sacrifice and stay up late with her so I can get my timing with her. So I'd say that's probably one of the biggest struggles. And honestly, like, I love my kids so much, but making sure that I'm present with them every single day can be a struggle too, because there's plenty of days where I want to come home and just sit on the couch and just like, don't bug me.
Just
You know
veg
what I
out.
mean? Yeah, man. But you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like if you're a good father, like like you can't do that. Like you have to give them some time. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be like as soon as you get there and you're, present the whole, hours till they go to sleep. Like I think it's give them your full attention for a good amount of time and then, go on with doing what you're doing. But you can't just be a lazy dad and just sit on the couch, watch TV, lay down, go to sleep. Like you have to be present. You have to be there. You know what I mean? And your kids see that. And there's times where when I get home and I always try to put my phone down in the other room because then I'll catch myself being on the phone, and I notice my kids get a little crazy, but it's because they want my attention. So I always try to remind myself, like, come home, put the phone down, put it in the other room, be present with the family, be present with the kids, play with them, and just give them my full attention. So I'd say that's probably the biggest struggle is really just reminding yourself, like, be present, connect with your partner, just be the father that you wanted or you needed or you had, you know what I mean? Be that person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's great. Like I'm the lifestyle you're living, waking up that early, man. I know it's probably some days you're like, you gotta like kind of pump yourself up
I mean, honestly,
to
bro,
get it,
like
to get after it with your kids. You
the
know?
way I look at it is like I have from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock to myself, right?
Yeah.
So I get up at 3. From 3 to 4, I have my personal development process where I get up, I do my reading, I do my journaling, I eat a little bit, I get to the gym by 4. My wife usually leaves the house roughly around like 6:30. So I usually try to get home by like 5:45, 6 o'clock because
Mm-hmm.
another thing, right, is I try to make her breakfast every morning.
Nice.
So I want to make sure she's
That's a
eating
good
every
guy
day,
right
right?
there.
And
That's a good
just
guy.
to show a good gesture, right? And I've been doing that for so long. It's so normal that like the days I don't make breakfast for her,
Yeah.
she's like, what the fuck, you know? It's like, fuck, you know, I should do breakfast. Like I should do something for you. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I'm thinking. Like if I could do something good for her in the morning that makes her feel good, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? If it's simple as breakfast, like that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? And I try to be on schedule. Get home right
Yeah.
before 6, make her breakfast, wake her up. She goes to work. I take care of the kids before work, and I'm on with my day. So having that time in the morning just with myself is really good because once you get off work, it's like you go
Phone's
to
blowing
work.
up.
Yeah. Well, not even necessarily phone blowing up, but it's like you get off work, you go home, you're right back to work working with the family. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
it's
It's your you
constantly
time.
exactly, yeah. So it's my me time, man. It's my zen time. It's where I can really visualize who I want to be and
Yeah.
where I'm going. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
love that the world's kind of asleep at that time. Most of
yeah,
the world's asleep, and so you can just really just be present with yourself
yeah.
and like. Do you guys meditate at all? Have you guys ever tried meditating?
Uh,
No.
I don't know if you would. I mean, maybe it's meditating, but I do have times where like I will sit there in silence, and I don't do it for a long period of time, but it'll probably be maybe 5 minutes. I'll close my eyes and really visualize like how I would want to be, right, for the
Yeah.
day, or like look at my future, like what do I want to look like? Where do I want to live? Like what do I want to be doing? How do I
Yeah.
want to be thinking? You
Yeah.
know what I
That's a
mean?
kind. That's
Like,
a type of meditation. I mean that would be like labeled because we're humans. We have to label everything.
yeah.
That would be labeled as like
Yeah, so
visualization
I would do more I do like
specifically,
more
which is great.
visualizing.
No,
Yeah.
that's awesome because, you know, I was learning this with a friend and it's called the RAC, the Reticulating Activation Center in your brain. It's like a small part of the brain that like what you think of is what you see more of. And Tony Robbins kind of dives into this a little bit, where like if you were to look at everything around you and you like look at everything brown, right? You close your eyes and you look and it's like, all right, now find something that was red. You're like, fuck, I know there's a specific exercise for that, but when you visualize something over and over, if you're like really want to get a red Corvette, you start seeing red Corvettes everywhere because you're activating that RAC is getting activated in your head. And when you do visualizing exercises, you visualize who you want to be, how you want to be, and why you want to be that, and you're visualizing what it is that you need to do to get to where you want to be, you start seeing that more in everyday life because now you're priming your brain to receive that. And that's huge. Most people, they just like they just go around just living their life, like you said, unconsciously, not knowing why they're doing what they're doing, going to the same job every day. Hi, Big Chief.
Yeah.
And just like, oh, that's so good, Bubba's. He's just he's
Yeah,
like a bear.
a lot of people drift, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of people drift. And honestly, that's why I decided to make the change because I caught myself drifting.
Was there a specific like moment, like an epiphany moment that you had where you were like, this is the line. This is the straw that broke the camel's back.
I mean, like there's been plenty of times where, take my shirt off and I look in the mirror and I mean, I wasn't like horribly bad, but I'm like, damn, I don't really like the way I look. And I just
Yeah.
kept talking about it and
Not
like, man, I need to
satisfied.
get back in the gym and just like, I don't know, bro. I just was going through just a drifting phase. And like I said, when I came across Wes Watson, I mean, if you guys know Wes Watson, I mean, he talks a certain way. A lot of people don't like the way he talks, but some people do. And I respect the way he talks. I respect the way he lives.
It's all about how you
And
receive it. Yeah.
exactly, man. So I took it as, damn, I'm not living up to my full potential and I need to be
Yeah.
better. So
I like getting coached tough. Like
yeah.
I'm good when I'm coached tough because I know like they have my best interest in mind and I don't take it personally. Like a lot of people in today's society, they just take things everything's just taken so personally. And it's like everyone's just so different, how they receive things. And that's why some coaches are not great for some clients and vice versa, like you got to find your fit when it comes to a mentor. And I do believe that it's important to have a mentor in life of some sort, whether you pay to be in a group like me and Jacob were talking about in podcast episode 4 about our champion development group that we were part of. Like I was paying.
That sounded cool.
Yeah, it was sick, man. Like, and we had people from all walks of life. We had people just like working W-2 jobs at, it's called the Health and Wealth Academy. So we focused hardcore on your health because your health is your wealth. Like it doesn't matter how much money you have if you're 50 and you can't even get off the couch. Like what is the point of all that money? Like why? Like I'd rather be having a modest income, like I don't need much. Like if I'm good here, I'm good out here.
Yeah.
No matter what it is that I have out here, I love being able to like have a clear mind. I love being equipped with tools to handle stressful situations with a good heart and not like freak out and not, make bad decisions. We're always gonna, we always fail. We always fail, but learning how to handle that failure and like take it with, the common saying out there is like my L's are lessons, not losses. And that's like changing that mindset is where, a lot of people, they just don't have someone to tell them that's possible, especially people that just doesn't have a great circle of influence. I feel like that's important. That's why I love staying into contact with you guys because I feel motivated talking to you guys when you guys reach out and you're like, hey, solid workout, or I'm like, hey, hell yeah, get after it. Like those little things. And
and good one.
That was like, I love that. That's fun. And one thing, I remember like posting my workouts every day back in the day, very consistently on my story and tagging a lot of people. And then I fell off. What it was it was after Tons passed away, man.
Yeah.
Like
that was a rough one, bro.
That's what I had in mind. I was like, the challenges, like I just disappeared. I just like fell off the face of the earth for a little bit. And like, I didn't want to post anything. I wasn't happy, and like, I was trying so hard to find the good in it, man. I was like really trying to find like, and the good that I did find was that it brought all of us together. And I was talking to Mike Welch this past weekend at Mike Brad's wedding, and I was like, man, like we got to do something every year to bring him, because like when my cousin Jitty passed away, one of the things we do every year is a horseshoe tournament in his honor. The horseshoe pits are literally named after him because we have family in the Parks and Rec department in Pittsburgh. And every year it's just a big celebration. We have a moment of silence. All the money goes to his kid that's raised there. And, it's in great memories. Memory lives on. And it's like with Don's, it's fresh. And I know you guys do something for his birthday, May the 4th, every year right now. And it's like, yeah, we need to all get that in the schedule, do something big. Mike was talking about Mike Welch was talking about going to like Pinecrest and just like having a little celebration of life for him
pretty dope
and whatnot. But yeah, like I fell off of posting. I was still working out, and my thing is like I always think like if I don't post it, I wonder if people believe that I still work out. And I'm like, if I don't post it, will people actually believe that? Because like I do something every day. I never leave a zero on the
It's not recorded, didn't happen.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I feel like I'm obligated to record it now because like people are like, I don't record it, it didn't happen. But I remember I stopped recording it. My cousin Dakari, he reached out and he was like, hey, why'd you stop posting your workouts? I was like, I just felt like I was just lacking motivation to post them. I felt like people didn't care. Yeah, I was just in a weird state of mind. And I just kind of wanted to go monk mode for a little bit, and just kind of stay off of social media. And he was like, well, dude, it really motivated me every day. And so even if you post it just for me, I want you to post them. Even if it's just for me. And I was like, damn, like, so shout out to Kari because like that motivated me to start posting. And every time I am like, I don't know if I want to just like record myself doing bench press today. I'm like, no, I'm doing it for him. Even if it's just for one.
Sometimes that's all it takes, bro. And that's how I feel sometimes too, right? Where nowadays I'm doing a lot of speaking videos. One, it's actually been helping me with my confidence, helping me think more, kind of think deeper. But I always try to think like if I don't want to post it or I get too much in my head, it's like one person out there needs to hear this. You know what I mean? Like if it's not one person, it's me. Like I would want to post something that I would want to hear, right? And I have had people like same thing, right? Where they hit you up like, man, like keep doing what you're doing, man. Like you're motivating me. It's like all you need is one person to do it for, man. And it's selfless at that point. You know what I mean? So,
and I want to ask you, man, because I know like I've known Thon since as long as I've known you, right? You guys were the same grade, same age, right? Or was he one
He's
year
a year
older?
older
He's
than
a
me.
year older. Okay, so he's Bob Boy and like Tyler and all them's age. And I know you. That was like your brother.
Yeah.
He was like an older brother to me, but you got like I mean, when I moved out of Livermore, it's just kind of tough to see everyone as often. And so I know you, Mike Welch, and Zal like hung out, and Bob Boy.
Yeah.
Mainly you, Bob Boy, and Mike Welch were with them.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I met Don's like I think I was in like 7th grade.
At Junction?
At Junction. Yeah. I've known Don since then. And we've always been super cool. It's actually funny, like me and him back in the day, I'd probably say like my freshman year, we went through this phase where we would be doing like thizzles together all the time. We'd go to Bob Boy's house, and that would be like the spot to do it, right? So
yeah,
it's a stupid little phase, but I mean, like that was like our thing, right? We'd get all fucked up, we'd go on a walk, and we have these long ass talks, and I think that's what really brought us like really close together. And he's always been my homie. You know what I mean? I've always looked at Thons as like he's the sweetest fucking guy you'll ever meet. He'll have your back even if he just met you. You wouldn't even think of it, but he was always down to chunk him. Like he didn't give a fuck.
he's
that's what I
just
loved the most about him.
like a good
like,
brother.
He was such an undercover like savage dude. Like he was, and
he was training Muay Thai.
He was training Muay Thai. He was boxing. He was in the gym.
Always getting after.
Always on a Stairmaster. I would give him shit for it, but that was his fucking thing, dude. He loved to do it. So, and I would feel bad because I would be a little hard on him. Like, he'd have excuses where he slept a lot, which I'd always give him shit for.
I know he was a gamer.
He loved the game.
He
used to game all the time, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really play video games no more, but man, I remember in like high school, man, it was like go to school, come home, and everybody was online.
Everyone was on Xbox.
Yeah, everybody was.
Yes, by the way, the kids nowadays, they play Fortnite. But like that was an era like Halo 3, like Call of Duty.
Some people were into Halo, we were into Call of Duty.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep. Oh man, and I remember one of like my core memories of Thons was like I don't even know how it happened, but like I just ended up going over to Thons' house. Bob Boy was there, and like his family, man, were just like they just welcomed
They're so
me
welcoming
in
with open
and
arms.
just fed me, took care of me. We were playing some Call of Duty, and Thons was getting hella into it, playing with his. Oh man, he gets into it.
He was
and,
the life of the party.
and he had such a big, hearted personality, and it was such a shocker because I remember the week before he passed, I was at the bowling alley with Kaipo and like Darren and John Poppy, and we were bowling, and all of a sudden we see like Tyler Leosow, we see Bob Boy, we see like their family, and I feel like you were there, but I'm not sure.
I rarely ever went over there. Once I moved to Tracy, man, it was like
once you move out of Livermore, man.
Once you move out, it's rough.
And so I remember like, I was bowling and we saw them, and I was like, I'm training for a Muay Thai fight. I got it coming up. He's like, bro, I'm gonna go there. And then I had the fight. I kind of talked about this with on my podcast with Jacob. And I got the text from Kaipo because Kaipo's in law enforcement, and so he's pretty in the know of things that happen. And I remember being at the beach in Aptos, and I just having a good time with my friends after the fight, like euphoric, bro, feeling like on top of the world because I just won my first fight, and it was just so great. And then I get a text in our group chat saying like, "Hey, they're shooting at the bowling alley," and it was very vague. We thought like all of our boys that were there were good, and so I was like, I'm gonna not think about it. I'm gonna put my phone away. Everything's gonna be fine. And then the next morning, on the 17th, we got the news, and like I remember being at the table at my grandma's house with my brother eating breakfast, and like we both looked at our phones and we're just like fucking just speechless, man. And we both knew without saying anything, and we just stopped, like the world stopped moving. And we were just in disbelief, and I seriously did not believe it. And then I saw the posts going up of like candlelight vigil, and it started like getting real. And I remember walking to a Panera in San Ramon because my boy Kyle Lopes, who will be on this actually next weekend, he lived in Vegas, but he's from the Bay, and he was working out here, and I met up with him. And I remember just sitting there, and he was like calling some customers, getting some work done and whatnot at this Panera because he fucking works. My boy Kyle, my boy Kyle, fucking works hard at building his businesses and whatnot. And I'm like just staring off in the distance, just like out of it, checked out, and I just started bawling, bawling, crying, like out of nowhere in this Panera, just like breaking down, and just like, oh man, feeling that all through my body. And then we had the candlelight vigil, and so that's kind of like my experience. And like what really hit me hard was going to the candlelight vigil and seeing all the homies, all the older
It was
brothers.
unfortunate we all had to get together like that.
Yeah, and like, dude, like, because we're back and we're looking cool as hell now. But yeah, we were just talking, and my experience of that, and with Don's our brother, rest in peace. So Jaden, like, I know you were super close with him, closer to him than I was. What was that transition like in your life?
Yeah, man,
I know it's big.
that was rough, man. So same thing. So that day we actually I was in the backyard barbecuing with the family, and my wife was like, "Hey, man, there's a shooting at the bowling alley, like, and it says there's a kid that was 28, like maybe we know him." I'm like, "What? That's crazy." Didn't really think anything of it, right? Because you don't think that it's gonna be your boy or anybody you know. And I sure enough, man, got a text 2 o'clock in the morning from Bob Boy saying that he was gone, and I was just like, same thing, man. Couldn't believe it, and I was just like confused. You know what I mean? And didn't really hit me till like even the next day in the morning.
Oh, all right, that's that. So we'll drop that. Oh, it's still going. Yeah, I just switched.
Yeah, so even the next day in the morning, man, I just still was just like in disbelief. And once we got to the visual, that's when everything kind of started hitting, and it was rough, man. I never really knew that I would lose one of my closest friends. I've had my dad and his best friend died in a car accident. He was, I was kind of close to him. That hurt. My grandpa actually passed away, I think probably a month or two before Thon passed. That was rough. But having somebody that you grow up with and a brother, like it's really, really fucking tough. So man, I miss Stuffle so much every day. Honestly, I speak into existence like I'm talking to him. Like it's funny, man. I even send him messages on Instagram, just like let him know, like, hey man, I'm thinking of you, you know what I mean? Or I'll send him videos, like just trying to keep his spirit alive, you know what I mean? Like, we got Thons tatted on our arm.
Show him out.
Thons. Got a couple of homies that got the same tat, and that's my boy for life. So I felt like it was right to get it engraved in me. So rest in peace, my boy. I miss that fool, and he'll always be in my spirit. He'll always be around. I know for sure. I've had a few dreams where he's actually been there and actually told me he missed me and gave me a hug. Like, it's crazy, bro. I've never had an experience like that. It's super wild. So I'm grateful for all the times that I've had with him. I think about all the memories that we've made, and it was a crazy experience, man. I never would have thought I've gone through that, honestly.
No, and death is it's something that we can't avoid, right? Whether it's our own, and even just like we know we're gonna lose the people closest to us, and at that point, like, man, 28 years old, come on, we didn't.
Yeah, but you don't think you're gonna lose them like that,
man. And yeah, like what are like, not to put this in a somber mood, because I've learned a lot from death. I've learned so much from death. What are some things that, because I know we probably all lost some people close to us. So what are some things that you guys have experienced? How has it shaped your outlook on life and your mindset of how you go day to day?
Well, I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk about that, and it was pretty much the same thing with Thomas Lovett for me.
Oh my God.
That was
yeah, that's right.
That was a brutal one where I didn't realize for a while how brutal it was for me. Because I'm shit, dude. I was best friends with Russell growing up. Thomas was like my older brother right there, So that was it's just weird how it all plays out, man, and how much you don't know it affects you until some time passes by and you kind of look back on it. Like, I was drinking a lot back then, and I didn't kind of realize that that's probably why, until I'm sober now. But looking back on it, like it's almost like time kind of stopped, and you kind of do everything to not think about it,
Mhm.
even though you don't realize it. It's weird how it affects you like that. But death it's something that I think it's such a weird subject, dude. You don't even know how to kind of, we've all lost somebody close like that. Well, I don't know if everybody has, but like I lost my great grandma who I was close with, but then, they're older, you kind of see it coming.
Yeah.
But something so sudden like your boy Thomas or any other people that you're close with like that, it hits weird, because it hits you at first, and then time kind of passes by, it kind of gets blurred out a little, and then it'll just fucking hit you out of nowhere, dude, like a sack of bricks.
Just a thought, just a little
Yeah,
memory
just
creeps
something,
in, a song. A
just
song
something,
comes up
man.
and you're like, oh, I used to. Dude, the songs, man,
Yeah,
music
the
triggers
songs,
memories
like our boy
deep.
Thomas, like he loved Rockstar.
Yeah.
Every time I go to the gas station, I see a Rockstar. I think of him. Just little things, that
Mhm.
you don't think about that just kind of, yeah, it's tough, man. But I'm sorry, what was your question?
No, just like how is that? How is that? It's all good, man. How has that changed your mindset on how you live your life?
Do whatever you kind of want, man. You never know when life's going to get taken from you. You really don't. Whether it's something sudden like that, but try to live life as corny as it is with no regrets.
Yeah.
But just be in the moment, live life. I don't know, just not regretting anything.
Yeah.
Like
Being present.
yeah, being present,
Yeah.
especially being present. And take the little things, keep them tight.
Yeah.
Like really yeah, I don't know, man.
Check in on your people.
Definitely check in on your
know?
people, because when I found out Thomas, that was such a weird thing. So, dude, so this happened like 2 miles down the street from my house where I was living at the time.
Mhm.
And I remember that night, I could not fucking sleep. I could not sleep. And I had an early morning at work. And so like 3 o'clock came around and I was like, fuck, I'm just gonna go to work. I can't sleep. Might as well just get there early. Maybe I'll sleep in my truck, something like that. And so I'm leaving, and I don't know why, but I was like, I'm gonna stop by Noah's Bagels.
Mm.
I go to Noah's Bagels. They don't open till 4, and I was like, whatever. And right around the corner is where everything happened, and there's a fire truck in the way, and I was like, what the heck? That's weird. And so I drove right by the scene, not knowing anything. And then I get to work, and like around probably 8 a.m. is when I get the text, and I was like, fuck. And then I see a picture of where it happened, and I was like, I was just there, and like it's weird how, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's just weird, unexplainable things like that. It just kind of, like the fact that I couldn't sleep that night, or had a weird feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
weird, dude.
it feels like there's a little void inside of you. Like
Yeah.
there's a little piece in your heart, in your soul that's missing.
Mhm.
Knowing that life form that we are so connected with is not around anymore, and like just digesting that and sitting with it and just being like, wow. And for me, having lost lost some good people in my
Mhm.
lifetime so far, and living out their memory. Like, hey, how would they want me to live? Would they want me to how would they want me to go at this? I'm gonna do it for myself at the end of the day, but like, man, if they were here, I know they would be going after it. I know they'd be getting after it. Like they would want me to be getting after it too. And I can't let them, like, cause I remember the world kind of stops. Like you said, the world just kind of stops going. Your world does, but life continues. And like for me, I was running my business at the time, and I remember I was like, I'm not in a position where I can lead people. I feel good leading people. Like I'm not full at the moment. Like there's been something taken from me, and it's hard to pour from an empty cup. And Don's passed away July 16th, and my cousin Jitty passed away July 29th. So like that is like we had Don's candlelight vigil, and the next weekend we did that barbecue for him, and then the next weekend we had the memorial for my cousin, where we went to his gravesite and visited him and everything, and did the horseshoe tournament. And then the next weekend we had Don's funeral, and it was like, dude, like a month straight.
That's a hard month.
Every weekend, just like mourning a loved one that we lost. And it's like, how would they want me? How would they want to go about life if, like, since they can't be here? I want to, if they're watching me, which they are from heaven, I want them to be like, hell yeah, like keep getting after it, keep going. Because if they were here and they're still here with us, they would be like, they would be going after it. They'd be really getting after it. And I got to live out their memories. So yeah, it's a tough one for sure, dealing with that and just being more present, like you said. It's like, hey, I got to be a good father.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like unfortunately we lost Bella's dad recently.
Oh my
That
God,
was another very brutal one, and
that was so rough.
that's another one. It's like, dude, you don't even know. God, you just don't even know. You don't know what to feel. You don't know what to think.
Yeah,
But as a man, you're like, okay, well, I got to push my shit to the side, and I got to be present for my family, and I got to be strong for them.
yeah.
Or
Life
her
keeps going
family.
on.
Exactly. So it's, whether it's other people around you that are maybe a little more emotional or more affected by it, you got to just be strong. But then it's at the same time, it's like a double-edged sword because you're suppressing your own shit.
Yeah,
And you don't get to grieve how you want to grieve.
yeah, and everyone grieves differently.
And then you find yourself driving to work or alone in your car, whatever it is, then you start bawling your eyes out because that's your only alone time where you can show your true emotion. It's
in your safe space.
Yeah, it's your safe space. It's whatever it is, but it's just kind of, yeah. I forgot what podcast it was you were talking about, but God damn, I just lost my train of thought.
It happens.
How society views emotions these days with men and how we should, if we should suppress them, if we should cry,
Yeah.
It's weird to navigate, man. It's weird to navigate. And
yeah.
That's the tough part about it is you got to figure it out on your own.
Yeah. Oh man, that's life, man.
But you can't lack within the people you love.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to still show up for them.
You still got to show up
no matter what. You got to deal with it, but also show up powerfully and be the figure of, hey, I'm still climbing up this mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I still like this phase of this climb sucks. It's hard. It's difficult. I'm falling a lot. I twisted an ankle. I got to keep going. There's people counting on me. My family is counting on me, and I don't even have a family. And like you guys, like that's where I am so.
It's great that you already have that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're already a couple steps ahead of other people.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a father. My dad is awesome. He was the best dad I could have ever asked for as well. Pushed me hard in sports and was just like totally allowed me to do everything I wanted, and supported it fully. Never missed me. He and my mom never missed anything sports related growing up.
That's awesome.
And like my dad, he dealt with death at a young age. His dad passed away when he was 15 or 16. And my dad's a badass. When he was in high school, he ran a 4:36 mile. And as a junior in high school. And he holds a record at Cal High,
really?
Top 10 mile times in school history, still in the top 10 today. And he had to change the course of his life after that, that's tough as a 15-year-old, losing your father. And that's like why the Barber-Leonardo family, they're one of the best families out there to ever exist. And they have so many kids in the family. And the ones I'm closest with is Anthony, because wrestling, and Joe, his older brother. Shout out to them, man. I've known
Joe would be a good.
Joe's great.
A great one to have.
I love Joe, man.
Very smart, super intellectual, has a lot of experience with business, helping run a family. He's Joe's he's a fucking stud.
He's a Chabot wrestler too. So like I see him at some of our alumni, and like he coached at the club that I coach at. And so every time we see Joe, it's like, oh man, love seeing him. And like, I know Valentina, we went to her, Joe, and myself actually all had a class at Las Positas together, and I was wrestling at Chabot. Just randomly, just had a random statistics class with them, and we got pretty close through that. And then we realized, wrestling and Anthony, and I've known Mirabella just through, them and whatnot. and
She's
similar friends.
Were you my grade?
Yeah. So
Okay,
she's a grade below me.
Yeah.
Or below us. And yeah, when I saw that, man, I was in disbelief. I knew, like, man, I texted Anthony. I reached out to Mirabella and Valentina, and it's tough to navigate, like, when someone else loses someone close to them, and like I don't want to, like, step over the line and just be like,
Exactly.
I don't want to ask too many questions, but I want to let them know, like, hey, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I know it's insignificant because I'm not in your
Means a
guys'
lot.
tight circle, but I want to
Means
let
a
you
lot.
know
Tell you that.
I'm here. Like, I'm
Yeah.
here for you. And I feel like in any grief moment, you got to let them grieve the way they got to, whether it's loss of a loved one, whether it's, failing at something that you're trying super hard for and it leaves you very emotional. It's like the biggest thing is to just let people know, hey, I'm thinking about you. And I think that's just the bare minimum right there. And I think that's the appropriate thing to do when someone is going through something hard. It's like, I'm not gonna tell you it's gonna be all right. I'm not gonna tell you, hey, do this thing. I'm not here to give advice in that. I'm here to just say, hey, I'm here for you if you need me. I'm thinking about you. I love you, and I'm just here if you need. And yeah, like how has death for you motivated you, changed how you live your life?
I mean, man, just like you said, man, you gotta do what you want, live how you want, live with no regrets. Going back to Thon's, man, is like before he passed away, I actually had him and Bob Boy at my house. Like, I think it was like probably a couple of weeks before it happened, and just came over for just a barbecue. You know what I mean? Just us boys, real quick. And that was the last time I seen Thon. So that's a moment where it's like when you have that time with the people that you love, like really enjoy it, really be present there, like make the memories, like tell the people that you love that you actually fucking love them. You know what I mean? Show your affection to people. Like, as a man, it's hard to do that because we're not built that way. I mean, we could be built that way, but at the same time, it's like you should be able to show emotion, right? But at the same time, like you said, you got to know how to navigate through it. You got to know when to be a little softer, and you got to constantly be on the harder side. You got to be that fucking man. You got to be strong for everybody else around you. You know what I mean? It's not bad that you have certain feelings and emotions and you cry. Like, let that shit out, because that's what helps you at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I think that moment, and then, when Thon's passed, it really opened my eyes to, like, we are very limited on this earth, and it can go with the blinking of an eye. So I'm going to do everything that I can to be the best that I can be, tell the people that I love them, because, I mean, you might not wake up one day and you might go somewhere and, not come home to your family. So it's very unfortunate, but it definitely opened my eyes for sure.
Yeah, it definitely makes me, like, more grateful. As weird as it is, like, I'm grateful for my own life, and, like, what I've built for myself, and what, like, seeing all the support that I have and all the amazing, like we talk about, gratitude journaling. That's one of the things I pretty much journal on a daily basis, is just how grateful I am to have just so many people in my life that are awesome and are just so supportive. Like, even like when I was coming out with this podcast, I was a little nervous. I was like, we always, like, as much as we don't want to admit it, we're always kind of thinking about what people think about us, and like that judgment. And so one of my things when on episode 1, I'm talking to my brother about, like, my fear talk. I used to really give a fuck about what people like. I might not have. I mean, some people might have noticed this of me when I was in high school. I was really insecure. Like, I was a smaller guy. I hit puberty super late, so I started getting acne like junior, senior year, like bad acne, and I really wanted to fit in. And my brother, he kind of talked about this. He wouldn't let me hang out with him and, like, Hypo and Oscar and Angel and, like, our friend group now, because they weren't doing the greatest things. Like, they weren't behaving the best, and he didn't want to introduce me to that type of stuff. And he was really looking out for me at the end of the day, but I took it as rejection. I didn't see it that way. Yeah. And they wanted me to hang out, like Oscar would be like, oh, come on, Carson, let's go. Or Joel, like, oh, yeah, Carson, come on. And Cole's like, nah, you can't. I'm like, what's wrong with me? You know, I was like, is there something like wrong? Am I embarrassing? You know, and like when me and my brother have gotten so close over the years that we're able to laugh at it now, you know, and just be like, it was just a misunderstanding, you know, like he was looking out for me as the older brother, and I just took it personally, you know, and that's like a big thing for me growing up, was I was taking things so personally. I was always worried about what people thought of me. And then I just got to a certain point in college where it was really when I started Cutco, I started gaining that confidence. I started like, you know, maturing more and talking to adults all the time in sales, and like learning from them and seeing like, oh wow, they're like, and develop like reading. I got into personal development and reading and like growing my mind. And then I started like, you know, not to like, I don't want to sound braggadocious or arrogant or anything, but I started passing people up in the mental game, because I had a hard focus on personal development when I was 19. That's when I started like getting into reading and listening to podcasts slowly. And I noticed, I was like, okay, people might be more uh, we all define success differently.
Yeah.
You know, I want to ask I'll ask you guys this question of like, what is success to you? And some people define success as like having all the money, you know, getting all the materials, getting all the money, and that's what they define their success for. And hey, that works for them. That's why they are where they are. And I would talk to a lot of really like successful people, and I noticed little things that of their mindset that I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know, it worked for you, it got you to where but now I see how you live your life, and you based it so much on this material thing or wealth. And, you know, wealth's not a bad thing at all, but like wealth with good intention is where it's at. And, you know, money is power, money is an amplifier, you know.
It's an option.
Yeah,
Helps
it's
with options.
it allows you to have more choices in life. And it also, you know, if you're an asshole and then you get $1 million, you're just more of an asshole.
Yeah.
Because you're going to now start using that money to amplify your assholeness. And that's, you know, at the end of the day, if that's how you define success, is having your money, but you're still not really a great person, like, I don't see that as success. So I would meet some people and I'm like, you might be really successful, but I don't like, and that's great. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, like that's for you, but that's not how I want to go at it. I'd rather have less money but be a better person. And then like, I don't know, I was seeing where some people are at, like especially in the college. Like I got to North Dakota in college, and I just saw how, you know, people would live their life, like not super disciplined, you know, being away from home for the first time. Like I didn't, you know, I wasn't the greatest kid in college ever, but I was always developing myself personally and had this different mindset. And I've spoken about this on other podcasts of like, a lot of people love to say that guy's just built different.
Yeah.
That guy is built, and I think that's just such a cop out for being lazy or
Oh, yeah.
being weak minded. And it's like, no, they're not built differently. We all have bones, muscles, skin, everything, and some of us have, you know, different genetics and whatnot but like, if you really want it, you'll find a way. You'll find a freaking way to be built like that. And it's more of a mindset. It's more of not a built different, it's I think differently.
Yeah.
I go at challenge. I see challenges differently. Like when I see a challenge, I talked about this with Chris on my last podcast. Like I smile, like, oh, fucking challenge, like an opportunity, like just
Yeah.
the mindset change of like, this isn't a challenge. This is an opportunity of growth I'm facing right now. And so, how do you guys define success? We'll start with Jaden, and then Chris, you go after.
Oh man, I'd say success has got to be in all areas, man. So you got to be successful at yourself, right? You got to have self mastery. You got to be able to control your emotions, which I mean, I even struggle with myself, man. You know, I get mad at stupid little things, and I'm working on it, you know. So, you know, being successful at yourself, being successful in relationships, you know, with your family, your friends, your kids, making.
So at this point, our regular recording software went down, so we had to switch it up, and the mini microphones didn't really quite connect. And have fun watching us think that they were connecting, because we had to use a different um, software to record. So defining success, and Jaden was talking a little bit about just, you know, taking care of yourself is like the most how you build a foundation of success. You know, if you're not good physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, then it's going to leak into all the other areas of your life. You're going to show up less present as a father. You're not going to show up to work with great intentions, and you're not going to. So yeah, that's like the first step. What else beyond that for you guys is success? Like, what does family success look like? What does financial success look like to you guys? Because at the end of the day, like, we have to provide. You know, as much as we say, like, I don't need all this money to be happy, we gotta have it. We gotta have it. Time, money, and energy are the three main commodities. And like, I value my time more than I do money because I can leverage my time to earn more money depending on the activity that I do. And I'd rather spend my time doing something passionate that gets me money than something that I dread doing and don't look forward to every day, but it pays me a little bit more. So what is like success beyond, you know, what is success for yourself, and what is success outside of yourself in terms of like your family and finances and whatnot?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah.
Success for what?
Success for yourself. What does that look like?
So
Jaden,
success
talk a
for
little bit about
myself, I think most importantly would be just having a happy, healthy family, and having a happy, healthy relationship with my kids, especially with my partner. You know, and then there is the money aspect, and I would say money definitely isn't everything, by all means. Like you said, it is a tool. But success in that standpoint, I mean, everybody wants to be rich and have a life, but how many rich guys are on their third wife? Or, you know, barely see their kids, or out of shape especially, and you can tell they're just not happy, but they're just invested in their money and themselves. So, I guess not being selfish, really, you know, just kind of, I mean, to a certain point you kind of do have to be selfish, but, you know, finding that fine line between giving yourself the time that you need and your family the time that they need. Money aspect, just being comfortable. You know, I don't think anybody really needs millions and millions of dollars. Would it be great? Yes. But just being comfortable and not having a bunch of debt hanging over your head, and just being able to, you know, if I can't, or if I want to take 3 weeks off, it's not a big financial burden. You know, just being a little more comfortable.
Oh, give me a break. Oh, it's still going. Hello.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think family's it's going to be the most important thing, because that no matter how much money you have, you're always going to have your family. Yeah. You know.
What about you, Jaden?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. Money isn't everything, but it helps. You know, living comfortable, not having to worry about bills. That's definitely something that I'm striving to have, man. Financial freedom. You know, being able to take some days off and not have it hurt me. So, I mean, having money isn't everything, but it gives you more options, gives you more experiences, and it's, like you said, it's a tool, man. So that would be success in my eyes for financial. And then for family, man, it's just having us all, I'd say, be like on the same page, you know, be all connected, be open with each other, you know. Like, I feel like as I grew up, it was a little hard to kind of express some things. But like, I want my household to be, you know, open. Like, if my kids feel some type of way, I want them to be comfortable with, you know, saying it out loud. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I've been through a lot of stuff, and I'm sure they would probably be going through the same thing. And if I can have any type of advice or input to give them that'll help them out, like that's what I want. You know what I mean? I want to have an open house. I just want us all to depend on each other. Of course, I want to be the one that can be depended on. Just because I am a man, I am their father, I'm the husband. That's my job. That's our job as men, is to be somebody that they can lean on. And that would be my success right there.
Yeah, no, that's very well put. And to kind of wrap up the awesome conversation we've had so far, like, you know, this podcast is called The Mountain, and at the end of every podcast, I like to just ask everyone, hey, what is the next peak that you're going for? Whether it's like in your health, whether it's wealth, your happiness, like what is the tangible thing, or, you know, with your family? I know it's not really like their kid. It's not really like tangible, But what is like the next peak for yourself that you have? I know you're trying to grow a coaching business, and I know you're taking care of your family. You're operating on cranes, which is like, yeah, dangerous task. And I feel like it's always important to have that thing that we're working towards. And like, yeah, for me, it's building my financial stability, keeping in shape, coaching these kids. You know, down the line, I want to open my own coaching. You know, like a wrestling coaching venture where I do like more private, small group lessons with people, because I love our clubs that we have, and you know, it's tough to.
Chief, come here.
Help.
Hey, come here.
He's like,
go.
I want to go this way. Stubborn boy. And you know, like I want to. There's some kid like especially the elite level wrestlers, they get a lot out of the club practices for sure. But everyone wrestles uniquely, and they have a different way. Like everyone, their bodies are built differently. They have a different like flexibility. So they're better at some things than others, and they're not as good at these things, and they get taken down easily with this move. And I want to really like focus on, you know, some private like one-on-ones or small group wrestling to really dig into the strengths of these wrestlers. So that's like a thing that I want to work towards in my life. And then I want to get back to training, you know, for some sort of competition, whether it's a marathon, whether it's another fight. Right now, I just gotta let the knee heal. But that's kind of like the peaks for me. What are like the peaks that you're climbing towards right now in your life? Sorry, I handed that to you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I didn't. There's a power button. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think kind of furthering my career. Definitely doing. I try every day to give my family the best time that I can. So making that a cement staple in my life.
What does growing your career look like? Like what further?
Getting more certifications, run different types of cranes, and you know, just to have more. How do I say it? More opportunities. There you go. More. I've been thinking about a little bit of a career switch up, but I don't. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But that's out there. You know, it's up for debate between me and myself. You know. Yeah, keeping work solid, keeping family life solid. Definitely focusing on my fitness too, especially my mentality. Keeping that squared away, because it can be easy to lose yourself. You know. I don't know.
Those some good goals to go for. What about you?
Man, I mean, yeah, foundation with the family for sure, and making sure that everything's tight, making sure that I'm there for them anytime they need me. I'm there when I'm there, being present. Of course, you know, starting this coaching business, you know, having that one-on-one coaching, I definitely want to grow it. I do want to get to a point, like I was saying earlier, where it's not just one-on-one, it's building a community of people that are on the same path, same people that are like-minded, that are only, you know, wanting to improve their bodies, but improve their mind, improve their life. Because I mean, I remember when I was on a program with the coach that I hired, it was super rad seeing, you know, a community of people sharing wins, you know, wanting to do better with their lives. Really, just like hearing the success makes you want to push even harder. You know what I mean? So I want to be able to build that, and I want to be the one that stands in the front, leads from the front, and is the creator of that. So that's definitely something that I'm working towards. And I know it's not going to be easy, but the journey is where it matters.
Dude, I love that. You know, he's meant for this, and I'm excited for you, Jaden, on where you're going with your life. And yeah, like at the end of the day, you know, whoever you are listening, find that peak and keep climbing on. And we're gonna do the same, you know, our own way. And like you said, it's not about the destination; it's about the journey. Because I kind of have a saying with this: the mountain is an illusion, right? That journey goes for as long as you want it to, and you know, you got to keep moving that peak. When you hit the peak, you got to get to the next one. You got to get to the next one, because if you reach that peak and you're like, I've done it, I've made it, that's where you see a lot of people, even very successful people, fall off. They stop those daily habits that are super important, that got them to where they are, and they forget about that. and then it's just their downfall. And so wherever you are out there, remember to enjoy the journey, because you're always on the journey. It never stops. And you can take breaks, like I say, you can put the hammock up in the trees, you can sit on a rock and check out how far you've come, but you got to get back to knowing, like, we are creatures of growth. Like, we must be growing or we're dying. And so whoever you're listening out there, climb on, keep living. We'll see you guys at the next one.